Dear guests, let us welcome on stage Mr. David Suomalainen, advisor at the Swedish Ministry of Infrastructure, Division for Digital Development, Sweden. Mr. David Suomalainen.
Thank you very much. Great to be here in Bratislava. Thank you for the invitation. Always hard to come up after a speaker like Alexander. So I'm going to speak a bit about blockchain in the Swedish public sector. I think the theme was utilizing blockchain in public sector, and I'm going to show some examples on what we have been doing in Sweden. But firstly, we'll speak something about me, just to know why I'm here. So as the presenter said, I'm an advisor at the Ministry of Infrastructure. I'm also head of the Swedish representation in the European Blockchain Partnership, where Sweden now is currently co-chair. Helen has been speaking about this, so I won't dwell into that more. Member of the EU Blockchain Observatory and Forum, and I was actually at the Swedish Land Registry previously, and I know that Chromaway was here last year and spoke about that case, which has some publicity, so I will also say something about that and the conclusions on what happened and what we did. So, to start up, a short introduction on Swedish public sector, which is a blockchain-based model. It's decentralized and delegated to the agencies. At the ministry level, we're not actually doing the work, we're doing the policy, we're doing the finance, the budget, the assignments to the agencies, but it's the agencies that do the actual work. And then we have a consensus model in the ministries that says that every ministry has to be accepting every new policy, every new assignment, every new budget. So it's always good to know something about where I'm coming from, right? The current and the previous administration have these goals. The slide here is for 2018, but they're still viable today. And yeah, what's the main goal here really is an innovation and collaborative government. Innovative and collaborative government to make it easier for the citizens and the companies to have a more open administration where everyone can feel that they are part and included in what the government is actually doing, to provide higher quality and efficiency for the public sector, for the private sector from the administration. Digital first is an important concept for us. Every service should be digital at first, and if there is need for some other reason, then it can be on paper process, but digital is something that's embedded in us. This is the capabilities that we think that we need to improve. Sweden is currently one of the best countries as far as go to digitalization, but we still think that there's much to do, especially on the efficiency and the safer side, to make everything more easy for the public. So. Yeah, on blockchain then more on this theme of today. We don't have a national strategy on blockchain to this date. If we are, I think it's probably more likely that it will be included in some other bigger strategy. I know that a lot of countries have their own strategies on blockchain, but that's not how we have been approaching it in Sweden. Mainly, we've been focusing on the EU European Blockchain Partnership. As I said, Sweden is co-chair of the partnership, and we are currently the biggest delegation there. We are involved in all the projects, and we put some effort to it because we think that building a European building block, European standard is very important for us. And as I said, the actual work is done on the agency level in Sweden. We have a lot of projects going on as far as blockchain goes. Most of them are on a POC stage right now, as pretty much everywhere, but there are some some exceptions to that, and I will speak a bit about them. But first, one of the POCs. This I think is interesting though, because it shows blockchain as being an enabler to think on a process on a new way. So what the tax agency is doing, right, because this is still an ongoing project, is they're looking at digital receipts. And what they thought they were going to do is they thought they were, let's try a blockchain and make the receipts digital. To make them secure and to have the originality that you want in a receipt. What they instead kind of got was tax compliance by design approach instead. So more about getting it right than fixing what has gone wrong. So more on doing the infrastructure, so it's easier to have everything correctly at the beginning instead of someone getting the receipt and then sending it into the administration or sending it to the employer to get some kind of money back or benefit or whatever. And by that influencing the taxpayers and the other stakeholders to do right from the beginning. And also helping, because I mean receipts are lost, it's easy to lose them. So what they're trying to do is building compliance into the existing business processes. This was the first idea that they had. And as you can see, this sounds a bit like a blockchain structure, but instead of going there, they went to this focus shift. Capturing transactions, right? There is a receipt that's a proof of a transaction that has been made. This should be another slide here. Sorry about that. To put an infrastructure between the customer and the provider of a service that enables a receipt, and in that building putting out really a blockchain or something like that into to the ecosystem, so that every transaction is recorded at the start instead of you're gathering receipts and then at the end of the year you're gathering them and going to the tax administration to file them in. What this does for them is it's create different roles in the future. The market is creating the solutions, because what they're thinking is they should have a real-time taxation. And they should provide an infrastructure on the basic layer where everyone can build their applications on. So if you're a company that has some certain thing that you want to customize, then you can do that on the infrastructure to make it easier for you to program in to your program that you have to do for budgetary reasons. The tax administration then becomes an enabler instead of someone that's looking to prosecute or to follow up. The tax administration would instead be a provider of a platform for doing purchases and for enabling companies and other providers, as far as the agency goes, to build new customized services. And this is the actual the architecture. This is more for you tech guys, but this is a hash kind of structure that they are looking at now. This is really on the beginning, but what happened is they thought they were going to use the technology to do something, but instead they find an idea on maybe we should do everything differently. Maybe we should have a distribution of services. Maybe we should have an infrastructure that's out there and not in-house at us. And maybe what that could do is to make real-time taxation, which would be highly beneficial for everyone. This is also a project that comes from a different angle, interesting, my data perspective. It's Swedish Public Employment Services. And this one is actually in service. This is something that functions today and is being used. And they actually put it up in only a month's time and just did it. They never looked at blockchain from the start. What's it about is that if you have a job and you get unemployed and you have an insurance company as AXA here, and then you can go to the tax administration, to the employment agency and say that I'm employed, I need a proof of this, so I can go to the AXA, to the insurance company, to say that yes, I'm unemployed, and I have been seeking jobs as I should do, mandatory by law and also by the agreement with the insurance company. When the customer is doing that today, they have to go through a paper process. So they have to actually go to the employment agency's offices and say that this is who I am, and I am seeking job now, as you can see. And then they get a paper back, and they take the paper and go home, and then post it to the insurance company. Which is, of course, very not efficient, and is really not enabling a fast and open process, right? Instead, they were thinking like, okay, how can we use my data perspective on this? What is the customer's experience? What they want to do as a customer for having a better process? Well. They want digitized, they want to be fast, they don't want to go to the offices, they just want to prove that they are unemployed and that they are seeking the jobs that they should be doing. So they put a blockchain on this because the blockchain is easy to use when it comes to connecting different parties with different kind of ideas on what they should do. So we have the employment agency, Arbetsförmedlingen, and they don't want to share all information, but they want to share some information. The insurance company, same thing, and also the unemployed person, they want to share the information that they are unemployed and that they are seeking a job. So they put this in a blockchain, distributed, had the nodes at the employment agency and the insurance company. So now it's possible through a layer, of course, for the insured and the unemployed to use that service to say that they have digitally signed and seek the jobs, and then they get the benefit and also the insurance from the AXA partner. And this will be done, are being done with a smart contract. So they have just a few details that they have to say that I'm unemployed, I seek my job, and I am who I am. And then a smart contract will automatically transfer the money to the account of the unemployed. And this is where it came from then. So how to give the user more control. And as I said, they didn't look at blockchain as a technology at all. They only said that how can we enable the user to have more control, and they found that blockchain might be a good solution for this, which is, I think, very interesting because many of the projects that we have, they start with a blockchain idea. They want to do a blockchain project, but this one was different. And it led them to a digital process which is much faster and cheaper. And as I said, blockchain is a great way to integrate participants. The Land Registry case then was an innovation project we did for 3 years. It's ended now, and there are a final report, but it's only in Swedish currently. What we thought, this was actually a project that we came from. We want to try a blockchain. We want to do a real estate transfer using a blockchain solution. A private-public partnership, so with lots of, the tax agency were there, the Land Registry was there, also some of the banks and insurance companies and real estate agents. You have to know some fundamentals about this, about the industry, I think, to understand why we actually try this. And one of them is that every inch of Sweden is mapped and has a registered owner. This is very important because you have to have the correct data in. The contracts for transferring property has to be in paper in Sweden, so it's mandatory by law. So this was a digitalization effort also to see if we could use blockchain to digitize this paper process. There are no notaries in Sweden, which is sometimes an obstacle. I mean, there's also clearly benefits of this, but we don't have this in Sweden, so the process is quite simple, really. The transfer registration is a digital registration. It's in a database, so there's no actual papers except for the bill of sale in Sweden. So when you have a registered owner, that you're not going to get the paper, you only get a registration in a database. And these are so this is just a picture to see how the process was. When we started, we thought like, yeah, blockchain is an infrastructure that goes this way, and it's easier. We have a number of participants that have a number of objectives, and we just verify what they're doing through the process. Let's use a blockchain on it because it will be immutable and we can store information. What happened was this. Everything kind of changed because, as you see on this one, the agency is at the end, right? So there's lots of things happening at the first, a lot of information going between the participants, but the agency is only collecting and the information and then making a decision. When we did this with the blockchain, we found very soon that the agency would be then a part of the whole process from the beginning, and this is in a way creating an ecosystem instead. So going from a linear process, which is quite simple, we are going to an ecosystem thinking instead. It changes the dimensions, changes the roles. What is the agency's role in this? We were starting to think that, as the tax agency was speaking about, that maybe blockchain and these new DLT and new technologies are doing is that it makes the agencies an enabler, a provider of an infrastructure, instead of being the major participant that makes the final decisions. The outcome was that it could be faster. I mean, the process could be very much faster since, I mean, it is a paper-based process today. Fast is maybe not always good because a real estate transaction is one of the probably most important decisions you do economically in your life. So you want to have some kind of balance there, right? More secure. Paper is bad in many ways because it gets lost and it's easy to manipulate and copy. And it really could be reducing costs for everyone. Also because if we provide a service like that, we integrate everyone, so everyone will know the information that they need to know at the time when they need to do it. They don't have to go out and search for information, which is the current situation. But it would need a big transformation. Going from a linear process to an ecosystem is something that's not easy to be done. I have a quote here from, it's a mixed quote, but from the Swedish law here, that the Land Registration Authority is the responsible authority for information in the land registry. So it's only the Land Registration Authority that can put information there. If you create an ecosystem, everyone will put in information at the same time, at all time, right? So it changes the dynamics, and it's the governance questions here are very, very difficult, and that is one of the reasons why this project was an innovation project, but also that's one of the reasons that it hasn't gone live, because we see that we need some major changes in law. I mean, of course, the paper process, that's one, but that's probably the easy one. The hard one is managing the policy and the governance structure. What is the agencies for? if they're not the sole decision maker, they are part of an ecosystem, they are an enabler. How would you solve that? What about the financing? Should everyone be included in blockchain, or should we have a permission? If we have a permission, maybe we don't fulfill our obligations to provide services for everyone at an equal level. So, small steps probably in this area. Utilizing blockchain to digitize, that's one of the small steps. I mean, going from paper-based process to a digitized process. Going from a linear process to an ecosystem-based process is something completely different. I think that's one of the reasons, of course, that why blockchain is not as taking up so much speed as AI does. AI is much more easier to put in a small process. Blockchain changes normally the dynamics. Some other concluding thoughts on this then. Blockchain may be a stepping stone for digitalization and for new ideas, as the My Data case shows, I think, where they say that let's try to use the customer experience, push that thought, and what's happened? Yeah, something happened that you distribute the information and you connect participants in a way that you can't do with other technologies. There's no solution that fits all. All of these cases have different blockchain, different solutions, different governance structures. It is highly difficult to integrate the private and public sector. The employment agency case, I think, shows that it can be done. But that's a very small process of just providing benefits, right? If you want to change a fundamental part of government, what the government is doing, that's something completely else. And to do that, you also have to have the private and public, and then it changes the balance, who is responsible for what. And that's also my concluding thoughts, and something I think that will be very interesting to follow and see, especially from the EU side, is what is the role of the government in a more integrated process. Blockchain will definitely be something that enables it, but enables it in what level and to what cost. So that's it. Thank you very much. These are my contacts if you want to reach out to me.